Hello, this is Silicon Way looking at the Oracle of the Future. I was going to do a walkthrough with explanation, but unfortunately it was so long that I've given up on that. So what I'm going to do is just a very quick description of the sections in the deck. These are all going to be upside down, unfortunately, because I have my camera upside down. Very, very useful not. Okay, so this is the first section, and I'm afraid it's a rather depressing one, because when I first started the deck I had absolutely no idea where I was going with it. I knew I was really concerned about the situation on Earth, and I was also quite concerned about finding myself in a kind of limbo state. So those are the first two sections. This section is about the Earth, not as it is right now, but as it might become in a few years' time, unless we can actually halt the people who seem to think that they have got a God-given right to destroy this planet. I'm not going to go through all the cards. I'll just show you very quickly. We've got, yeah, if I could actually get them in the picture. We've got the Earth as it could be in a few years' time. We've got power and greed, and the more I think about it, the more I realize that this is what has caused the issue right now. There are one or two things that the Earth is doing all by itself, but the power and greed is something that somehow we need to stop. Stop buying the products, stop saying that the stock market is the be-all and end-all of everything. Not. This guy here, you note his wonderful yellow hair. He's crushing the Earth in his hands. He's got a stock market crushed in his hands. He's got guns that he can destroy everything, or people anyway, and he's got a desiccated Earth behind him. So that's the main issue at the moment. Then we've got a few things that the Earth itself is doing. The polar ice is melting. I'm not sure that that is down to us completely. I think Gaia, as a living planet, is probably trying to get rid of us. Don't blame it. I would too. So the oceans are rising, and that's creating all sorts of different problems. We've got the sixth mass extinction, all sorts of bugs and animals and things, maybe even including us if we're not careful, because we've had major extinctions before and they have ended up with just about everything dying, and it does look to me as though we've got another issue like that now, especially as we add to it, don't we? Pollution, and that's not us so much as the power and the greedy. Climate change. Well, there were quite a few people, politicians, we won't name them, who were poo-pooing climate change, but it's now inescapable. It's on us. And this is getting very serious because the oceans are rising, climate is changing, we'll have all sorts of diseases that we didn't have before, and thousands, if not millions, of people who are trying to just leave their homes because there's nothing left for them. Either the sea has covered them, or they're in wars, or whatever. And this is the reality of refugees. They're youngsters. They don't know anything. They just want a decent life. They get in their rubber dinghies, if they're going on this side of the Earth anyway, and they try their best to land on a better place. And what do? We send them to Rwanda. Give me strength. Good God. Okay, not pollution. This is pandemic. We had that a few years ago. We may have one again in the future, especially as people will continue to have laboratories dealing with very dangerous viruses. AI, when I first started this deck, AI was just, yeah, whatever. a bit of a joke. It's now becoming quite serious. It's also going to be very, very useful at times, but hey, it's dangerous. And this one, the shadow, is something that I think we do need to actually apply ourselves to personally, because the shadow is a personal thing. We all have 40, 50, 60% darkness inside us, and most of us won't look at it because it's horrible. I've looked at mine a couple of times and found it a hell of a good teacher, but it's not comfortable, that's for absolute certain. So that's the first section. Second section is where we find ourselves right now. Is that right up? Yep. This is the in-between, the put my teeth back in, the liminal, where you're walking and you don't know where you're going, you're on a bridge, you can't turn back because that's not feasible, and so you have to go on into the mist, and it's scary. Dreams, fantastic way of accessing the liminal inside us. Books. A lot of people don't read books now, unfortunately. They should, because again, it gives access to the past, the present, and other dimensions. Creativity. Creativity is scary because if you want to try it, you know that you're going to make a mess and it's going to be terrible and da-da-da-da-da. So many people don't actually get started. But it covers a wide variety of all sorts of things. You know, music, writing, dance, singing, making a garden, making flower arrangements. It's never ending. You can do it. Just don't be too scared. Meditation, another brilliant way of accessing the in-between inside you and finding it very creative. Because this is the whole point of this section, in fact the whole deck apart from the first 10 cards, to show us what's possible in positive ways. Yes, we're living in a difficult era. We don't have to let the powerful and the greedy destroy us. So meditation, accessing your inner strength and finding out who you really are. You can walk in the countryside. If you go early enough, you'll still find the dew on the leaves. Beautiful. And it connects you completely to the earth. Shamanism, okay, not many of us are true shamans. They are the people who can access their healing abilities. They often work with totem animals. This guy has got a wolf and an owl. Drugs. It's not a recommended path, although we have millions and millions of people on opioids. So although it seems to promise a really amazing escape, it's not a great solution. This one's interesting. A lot of people have experienced near-death experiences. They are on the operating table, they die, and then a day, an hour, later they come back. And these are genuine experiences. Some people have come back and completely changed their lives. In fact, most of the people who've come back have completely changed their lives. There's quite a lot on the internet for it if you want to check it out. And the final card in this section is about a portal to consciousness. Consciousness is what I'm looking at next, because in the reading I did, that was the fundamental issue that we have to deal with, our own consciousness. And there's a lot of it, because humanity is not the be-all and end-all of consciousness, even though I've got a sort of a human being here. What I believe is that consciousness is well around us. It's not in our heads only. There's obviously an aspect of it in our heads, but we also have brain cells in our stomachs and as we see here, there are lots and lots of other creatures on Earth that are highly intelligent, possibly even more intelligent than us. Animals on Earth, yes, again, highly intelligent, we know that. The reason I think that they're brighter than we are is that they don't destroy the Earth. Insects, arachnids. Arachnids have got 8 legs, insects have 6, just so you know. We've got little butterflies there, we've got white ants, and I was brought up in Africa, so they used to build these enormous constructions, and apparently they're all air conditioned as well, which is actually really amazing if you think about it. Same with bees. They can map read in some way. They know where they are. They do little dances to communicate. They are absolutely extraordinary. We're busy killing them off. I tell you what, if we manage to kill the bees off and other insects, we will follow. Right, trees and mosses and lichens. Again, a life form that we don't really understand. There's been a lot of work done on them recently, so there's a thing called the wood wide web because they communicate through their roots. Same with funguses. Fungi, amazing life form. Be careful if you eat them because they can be poisonous, and same with algae at the back. Viruses and bacteria, we don't know much about them at all. They sort of impinge on us sometimes drastically, as they have done, and with the climate change there'll be all sorts of new viruses and bacteria and things arriving and appearing and making us sick. Okay, the last 2 cards are about consciousness and the way we limit ourselves. You know, we sort of say, I don't like driving at night, so I'm not going to drive, and you don't drive at night. I don't like that sort of film, so I'm not going to watch it. All those things cut out the awareness that we could have. Excuse me. And this is a final issue about that cutting down on consciousness. We have these sharp edges, but in actual fact what we could do is revise that, reframe it, and access this beautiful golden set of consciousness that allows us to do all sorts of new things. Consciousness, right. This section will probably do your head in. I don't think anybody actually understands it, even the quantum physicists, but it's amazing. I'm not going to try and even describe it, but we've got quantum paradoxes, uncertainty here. This was taken from a photograph of an experiment. And the problem with quantum levels is that you can measure one, say, mass, and you can't measure the speed. And it must have done the physicists' heads in right at the very beginning because they love things to be cut and dry. They aren't, not on the quantum levels. We've got particles, they don't look like this, but I wanted to illustrate them. You've got quantum spin. That's an interesting one. You can use spin in all sorts of different ways in readings. This is actually that some of the particles spin left, some of them spin right, some of them left-handed, whatever. This is quantum, not coherence, can't remember its name, entanglement. Particles can get to join together, and in that case they function as though they're one, which is actually really strange. I personally believe that the quantum levels explain our consciousness. Scientists haven't got there yet. They think it's hooey, but I've got one card coming up that talks about it. This is coherence. I'm not quite sure the difference between those two. But again, when you meet somebody, you know that they're really on your wavelength. This is us. our macro version of coherence. Quantum tunneling, a new discipline, very interesting. And quantum consciousness, again, as I said, the physicists don't agree that there is such a thing. I think it's, of course, there's quantum consciousness. Come on. Okay, last section. Oops. This is how Earth could be if we finally get back to what we need to be. Here's this beautiful pale blue dot from space with its clouds and its rain and its oceans. It's an extraordinary place. And we need to look after it. More mysteries, life. We know when life happens, we just don't know how. Yes, I know the sperm and things like that, but that's not the point. This is life. It's an old painting. I've used it with to add little juggling balls, because that seems to be how we are to a large extent in our lives. This is death. We don't want to think about it, but it's not something that we can escape forever. Now we get into how it could be in the future, the children playing. I hope we can continue seeing that forever. Marriage of life, what's it, soul? Body, soul and spirit, good grief. Can't even remember the names I gave these things. But this is about us allowing spirit and body and soul to become one. This card, unity consciousness, is when you understand that unity. You understand and feel part of the whole of existence. It doesn't happen very often. When it does happen, it's extraordinary. I can't tell you how to do it, but good luck experiencing it, because it's an amazing amazing experience. And the final card is husbanding the earth, looking after the earth. To a large degree, this is what this deck is all about. But at the same time, it's about lifting our awareness so that we know that we can do this, and we don't actually say, oh, I'm only one of, 7 million, billion people on earth. I can't make a difference. You can. So aim for the sense of holding the earth and looking after the earth. And if you can do that, then we have a future. So good luck with your husbanding the earth and using this deck. And I have done a reading with it, so I hope you enjoy that as well.